So hi everybody, my name is Edwige Simon and I'm the faculty director of the Graduate Certificate in Language Teaching with Technology. And I'm going to give you an overview of the program, the requirements and the spring courses, and then there'll be a chance to ask questions. So briefly, I want to clarify what is a certificate. A certificate is also sometimes called a micro-credential. It's a short course of study designed for professionals who wish to hone their skills in a particular area. And so the graduate certificate that we offer at CU Boulder is focused on language teaching with technology. So I already mentioned that we're out of CU Boulder. It's a 12 credit program. And I wrote here transferable. And what that means is that these are actual graduate credits that you can potentially transfer to a degree. And usually it is the receiving institution, it is the receiving degree that decides whether or not to accept those credits. And so you would have to ask them, for example, whether they would be willing to transfer your credits towards a master's program. This is what a lot of students have done in the past. The courses are fully online. And we are offering these courses for world language educators in the US and beyond. The majority of our students are in the US, but we always have some students from Canada. We've had some teachers in Japan and China. The cost of the program is $495 per credit hour, and we have 1, 2, and 3 credit hour courses. And so the entire program, if you multiply $495 by 12, is a little bit under $6,000 total. There's a link here to the financial aid page, and there is also on our website some funding letters, some templates that you can use to request funding from your department or your school, your district, your institution. It's a letter that you can download, and it's that you can edit and modify to meet your context. So who are our students? This is a photo that I took last week when I went to the ACTFL conference in Washington, D.C. And as you can see, so I'm right here in pink in the middle. And these are all certificate students. Amanda was one of the very first students to graduate from the program. And Sophie here is taking her first class. So it was a wide range of students who are at very different points in the program, but we were able to organize this get together, and it was quite wonderful. They're located everywhere in the US. And actually on our website, let's see if I can get to our website quickly. I have a map of students who've taken courses in the certificate program. So as you can see, the majority are in the US, and then we've had a few students taking courses in other countries. Present, here we go. So going back to the presentation. So these are our courses right now. We offer courses in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall. Usually 3 in spring and fall, and then 4 in the summer. And you also have a little note next to each course that is required. I want to emphasize that we have this course here called Tools in Practice that we offer in the spring, and in the fall we have another course called Tools in Practice. You only have to take one of these 2 courses. They're not both required, but you can take both, and they both count towards the certificate. And actually starting next year, they will have a different name and a different course number to really differentiate them. And then in the summer, I offer the Language Technology Foundation course, and it's a 3 credit hour course. So it's a 12 credit hour program, and you have to take the spring or the fall version of the Tools in Practice course, and then in the summer, you have to take the Language and Technology Foundation. It's only offered in the summer. And so for the rest of the credits, it's really it's up to you. If you take the foundations course and one of the tools in practice, you have 5 credits. And then you can pick and choose for the other 7 credits. These are electives. And so I put together those little certificate timelines just to show you that there are many different ways that you can go about completing the certificate program. If you're in a rush, you could finish by summer 2020. That would be intense. You would be taking a lot of courses, but it's possible. you would really, this is an option for teachers who have a lot of time and who would not be planning on having any kind of a summer other than studying for the certificate courses. I think option 2 is a lot more reasonable. It has you take courses in the spring, in the summer, in the fall. And then option 3 is also very reasonable. It's 4 semesters, you go at your own pace, you can kind of pick and choose the courses you want to take and take your time. There is a 3-year limit on completing the certificate, but based on this, you can see that it's a very reasonable timeline. Let's see. So, if you decide to enroll in the certificate, here are the things that you will do. First of all, you're going to meet educators from the whole world, mostly the US, but really everywhere. It's a small program. We have 12 to 16 students per course usually, and we usually cover one theme per week. And every week you have 2 deadlines. There's usually a deadline on Wednesday and a deadline on Saturday. So my point here is you never have to be in a certain place at a certain time. There are deadlines, but you can complete the deadlines ahead of time. And you usually have, for example, for the discussion, you have between Wednesday and Saturday to participate in the discussion, but it's up to you when you jump on the discussion board within this time frame. In terms of the activities that we do in the certificate programs, we do a lot of readings, book chapters, articles, blog posts, videos, infographics, all kinds. And we do a lot of discussions. Usually the discussions take place on the discussion board. We sometimes have live discussions in the summer when there is more availabilities to meet during the day. We do a lot of lesson planning. We do a lot of guided technology explorations. We do some interviews with experts, especially in the emerging tools in practice. So the certificate courses are, they're very collaborative in the sense that you learn from me, I learn from you, and you learn from all the other students in the course. We read the research, we read the literature on the topic we're looking at, but we're also always spending a lot of time on practical applications and kind of comparing the two. So it's a program where you have both the theory and the practice. So I'm going to go over the 3 summer courses that we have. So this is the first course. And one thing that I want to say right away is that you can actually register today. If you register today for any of the spring courses, you will not be billed until February 8th. So you can absolutely register and enroll and reserve your spot in the course, but you don't have to pay for the course right away. The emerging tools in practice counts as one of the requirements. It's a perfectly fine course to start the certificate with. It's a 7-week course. It used to be an 8-week course, and I cut down the last week and redistributed the content. So we'll start January 25th and we'll go until March 14th. And it's a course where every week we're going to look at an emerging tool. We're going to look at virtual reality, augmented reality. These are 2 separate weeks. We're going to look at Breakout EDU, and I actually got some free access to all the registered students to the Breakout EDU site for 3 months, and then a discount if you want to purchase a year subscription. So this will give you a chance to explore the site a little bit. We're going to talk about place-based language learning. We're going to talk about digital games integrations, and you're going to see plenty of examples of ways to use digital games in the language classroom. Not talking about Kahoot, I'm talking about using mainstream games and repurposing them to meet the needs of your language learners. It's a bit different. As part of it, we're going also to select an emerging technology and investigate its potential for language learning. And it's a very scaffolded investigation. Every week you have to do a little portion. It's very guided. And every week you will get to see what the other ones are exploring. And so at the end of the course, you will have access to your own report. If you did a comprehensive report and you filled out each part, you will have the option to present your work through a webinar in the spring. But you will also have access to other people's work. You'll see what they research and you'll learn about what they found out. And then the next course, It's a little bit of an outlier in the program because it's not a course where you learn to teach with technology. It's a course where you work on your own proficiency through technology. And it's a 5-week course. Again, it used to be a 6-week course, and it's a 5-week course. The first week used to be kind of an orientation week, but I figured that we could do this over 5 weeks. And again, you receive plenty of help and scaffolding and guidance on how to get set up to meet with your language partners live. We use a service called Talk Abroad. They have a lot of partners, wonderful experienced partners who live in the target country, who just love to share their language and their culture with language teachers. And so every week you will meet with your language partner twice for 30 minutes, and then you'll write a reflection. And then also every week we're going to discuss about the challenges of maintaining proficiency for language teachers. So that's a 1 credit hour course that starts February 8th. And then this is the last, the last course of the spring semester. It's a 2 credit hour course, 7 weeks. It's a course that is entirely dedicated to digital games and language learning. And so it's a course where we are going to spend some time looking at gamification. We're going to spend some time looking at using mainstream digital games and creating wraparound activities to use them in our classrooms. And then at the end of the course, we're going to look at what we call serious games. And these are games that were built from the ground up for the purpose of language learning. So kind of 3 approaches to using games in the language curriculum. It's a specialized course. You actually don't need to be a gamer to take this course. We're not looking at turning you into somebody who is going to entirely gamify your curriculum, but we're looking at spending 7 weeks really looking at the topic of gaming, digital games in depth, and understanding what the potential of games are so that you can use this strategy sometime in your courses. So these are the 3 spring courses that are open for registration. If you are a prospective new student, here is what to expect. If you are a returning student and you've taken courses last semester or last summer, you can just skip to step 3 and register for courses. You will need to activate your term, don't forget. But if you're a brand new student, the certificate is non-degree, and so you don't really have to formally apply to start taking courses. Basically, you start taking courses, and if you complete the 12 credits, including the 2 requirements, you will receive the certificate. In terms of the process, the first thing you do will be apply for a student number, and we have detailed instructions on the website. And then you will get a student ID, and then the student ID will allow you to activate your credentials. So you will have a CU login, a CU password, a CU email. And then you will use this information to register for courses. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and register today, reserve your spot in any of the spring courses, and you will not have to pay your bill until February 8th. If you encounter any issues during the registration process, please email ceregistration@colorado.edu here or call this number, and they will be able to help you out. The last thing that I want to mention is the book club. The book club is an informal professional development group that I lead. I have a free Canvas shell where we meet, and you can actually click on this link, join the book club. It's free, and you will get information about the book that we will read. We will actually read this book, Disability and World Language Learning. That's the spring book club selection. And one thing that is new this semester is that I will be able to give a certificate of participation showing the number of hours that this represents, so that you can submit it to your district for continuing education hours. So that's it for the book club. And the book club is a really good way to network with other language educators, get to know me, and decide for yourself whether you want to start taking courses in my program. One thing that I maybe did not mention, and I'm going to go back, actually, I'm going to go to the website now. So this is the book club. I'm going to go to the spring course page. I will be teaching all 3 spring courses. So if you have any specific questions about the quiz, you can just email me. Also, this course here, which is the first course to start in the spring, I will open it tomorrow. And what this means is that if you register sometime this week, you can have course access by the end of the week, and then you can get a head start on doing the readings for the course. And same thing, this course will be open very shortly after. The gaming course will probably open also sometime mid-December, third week of December. But all that to say that if you're worried about the workload, you will be able to get a head start on the courses. I'm going to go back to my slides. I talked about the registration process. At the end of the presentation, I have a few quotes that you can read on your own time, since you will get a copy of this presentation. And these are all email addresses, and I mean, there are so many more. We've had about 200 students go through the program in the last 4 years. So there are a lot of people that you could contact to ask about their experience in the certificate program, but this is just a handful that have volunteered to share their email address with you if you have any questions. So this concludes my presentation. And I'm going to stay here for a few minutes, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. So there are no registration deadlines, actually. The deadline, well, sorry, I take that back. There is a registration deadline. It's the Wednesday before the course starts. And it's always the same whether it's spring and summer. I was going to say there is no registration deadline because technically students who've taken courses before, they can register until the day the course starts. But if you're a new student, you will need 2 or 3 days to go through the registration process and get set up. And so if you do that at the very last minute, it's possible that you don't get course access by the time the course actually starts. So I'm looking to the site because I have the dates over here. I'm going to unpin this. So if you were to take all spring courses, it means that you would take the emerging tools in practice and the proficiency course, and that would overlap. And this is something that a lot of students have done in the past. So I have to be careful with time estimates. So you want to know how long, if you were to take all 3 courses, how long it would take you to every week. So I would say for the emerging tools in practice, you're probably looking at 6 to 8 hours per week. And that will vary depending on whether you get a head start, you register right away, and you start reading early January. But usually it looks like this for a typical course. You will spend about 2 hours doing the readings on the weekends, and then maybe an hour replying to the discussion questions, and then an additional 2 hours between Wednesday and Saturday, maybe on the discussion board. And then there is usually a portion of your final project that is due on Saturday. So you're looking at something between 6 and 8 hours per week for the emerging tools in practice. For the telecollaboration course, where you meet with a language partner, you're going to spend an hour a week talking to your partner, and maybe a half hour doing writing up your reflection, and maybe an hour on the weekend for the discussion and doing the readings, and maybe another hour for the discussion. So for the telecollaboration course, you're looking at 4 to 5 hours per week. And then for the gaming course, it would be the same as the emerging tools, 6 to 8 hours per week. Do you have any other questions? All right. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to stop the recording.